Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk with the Saw right here on Superlative Radio. We missed last week. There were, old expired Spice here had some medical issues that he had to do. So this week we're going to talk about what we should have talked about last week and what we're going to talk about this week. So we're going to cover it all.
We'll cover in one.
So that's the first 2 episodes of The Mandalorian, the last 2 episodes that have aired of Star Trek Discovery, and of course he watched Spider-Man Far From Home. Yeah, so we're going to talk about that too. So we'll start with Mandalorian, and to let everybody know, this is our second take because our card that was saving our first one
shit the bed.
Yep, totally ruined on us. So the first episode of season 2 of The Mandalorian is chapter 9, and it involves the Mandalorian heading to Tatooine because he hears that there's a Mandalorian there. So he goes there looking for this Mandalorian, and in the process, he ends up finding a guy wearing Boba Fett's old armor from Return of the Jedi, and what he ends up finding out is that this guy ended up getting the armor, and he was wearing it, and he was the marshal of this
Timothy Oliphant, by the way.
Yeah, this little town that was being plagued by a crate dragon and sand people. So Mando told him, you have to give me the armor because you're not a Mandalorian. You can't wear it. And he said, well, I'll make you a deal. You help me get rid of the crate dragon and I'll give you the armor. So he agreed to the deal. It turned out they had to make another deal with the sand people that were plaguing the town as well, because the crate dragon was plaguing both the sand people and the townsfolk. So they made an agreement for everybody to work together to defeat the crate dragon.
Which they did.
And if you...
Bit of a task, but they did it.
That's right. And if you haven't seen it yet, if you don't really know what a crate dragon is, it's basically a dragon, just with no wings, and it lives in the sand. It breathes acid. It has armored scales all over its back, so it's nearly invulnerable from the backside, but it's vulnerable underneath, like dragons usually are. Anyway, they ended up fighting and defeating the thing, and
with a bang.
Yeah. So in the process of doing that, of course, he ended up getting the armor from the marshal, and at the end of the episode, of course, we see Boba Fett standing there with no armor on, and everybody is kind of like, well, how did he survive? Well, come to find out that the crate dragon ate the Sarlacc because it was living in the Sarlacc pit. It ate the Sarlacc, and that was how Boba Fett escaped. So I guess that's how we're going to see Boba Fett in there. Yeah. So, and as I said before in our first take, they connected it to the original Star Wars A New Hope with when Luke goes looking for R2-D2 at the very beginning there, and then he gets attacked by sand people, and Obi-Wan comes to his rescue, and he's making that noise. That noise he's making is a crate dragon sound. That's why it scared the sand people off. Yeah. So,
which is a nice tie-in.
Tie-in there too. So they really
they did their homework and they did it right, which is good. That's what they're supposed to do. You got to have it, So it's good to see that there's.
And like you said, it ended with him driving off on the speeder bike, and it picked right up the second episode with him still on the speeder bike. Yeah. So
it was nice how it just folded from one right into the other. That was
it was really cool. So overall, you said you liked.
I did. I enjoyed it thoroughly. It sent a good message, as I said, because both of them had to work together to get a common goal done. And as I had said, originally, the first one, we need that these days with everything, especially with this whole American election and everything going on. I think that's a good message to send out.
It's funny because a lot of people have thought, even in the Star Wars universe and fans and everything, have thought up to this point that you couldn't reason with sand people. You couldn't work with them or, like nothing.
Okay.
Like that's sort of how it's been. Like sand people just are...
But obviously that's not true.
So obviously that's not true. So they came up with a way for them to work together to defeat their common enemy, which was the crate dragon, which would have killed everybody.
That's right.
Eventually. So it's
better to work together and survive together than all be gone. So that's what I mean. Like it's a really, really good message to send out. So,
that was good.
Hats off to you for that one. I enjoyed that.
So then the second episode picked up right there with him going back to where he had landed his ship, which was with that woman with the droids who had fixed his ship in season 1.
Right.
And she was watching over the baby Yoda while he had gone off to fight the Great Dragon.
She was playing cards with that ant guy.
And
Mr. Mandible, she called him.
Yeah.
That was so funny.
And ended up making another agreement for him to transport this frog woman, who she was like, he's like, I'm sorry,
I don't speak frog. Yeah, that was so. I laughed at that.
So he agreed to take her to her husband, her and her eggs to her husband on another planet, one system over, because
he had to fertilize them.
He had to fertilize them, and in that same time, she said he knew where there was Mandalorians, so that was what got her passage on his ship. While they were en route, they encountered 2 X-Wings from the New Republic, and they ended up getting chased by them. They crashed on Hoth, and while they were crashed on Hoth and trying to fix the ship, of course, the frog lady wandered off, and the baby Yoda, of course, points out to him that she'd wandered off, so they go looking for her. They find her in this hot spring where she's, got all of her eggs in the hot spring.
Warm thing, because it was cold there,
And so while he's helping her pick up all the baby Yoda, of course, goes off and starts poking at these other giant eggs that look like they're from the movie Aliens, and cracks one open and starts eating what's inside of it. Turns out he wakes up all these eggs, and they all hatch, and they're all like spiders. And they look really freaking great. So you get arachnophobia, don't watch it. Don't watch it. It's creepy as hell.
I don't like spiders either.
No, and they, of course, they have to get away from all these spiders. And I mean, they're every size. They're like this dude, as big as his ship.
And they're creepy bastards, too. Yeah. They really did a good job making them.
They did, yeah. And like I said before, Kim and I were watching it, and of course she fell asleep, and she woke up while the show was still going. I'm like, "Oh, you missed the creepy part." She's like, "What that?" I'm like, "All the giant spiders." Yeah. But so
that was definitely Kim's convenience. Pardon the pun.
Exactly, because one of the pilots from the X-Wings was from the show Kim's Convenience.
Yeah. So there's.
But yeah, they anyway, so they do end up getting off Hoth. And escaping from all the spiders eventually, but
with the help of the guys from the X-Wing.
Yeah, exactly.
They shot them all.
Yeah, but it was creepy. I mean,
because they found they said he had done some really good shit somewhere, did something or other.
They let him go.
They let him go because of what he did.
Yeah, yeah. So, and he, but they did tell him the next time they encountered him, he better have his transponder on the ship fixed properly, or they were going to arrest him. So they. Anyway, it was pretty cool. And of course, it ended with him flying off to deliver the frog lady.
That's right.
And of course, during the episode, in order to communicate with him while they were crashed on Hoth, she hacked that broken battle droid
thing there.
That's right, or whatever, so that she could communicate through the droid with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a neat little trick.
It was pretty cool. But it was pretty good. And of course, Baby Yoda kept eating her eggs.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah.
At the very end when they're flying off.
Yeah, and he's got one.
He's got one. He goes,
and then he winks. Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah. I was like, oh god.
Yeah, it was cool.
He kept eating her eggs. Yeah. Frig, it was so funny. But just what they're doing with it is really cool, and the way they're connecting it to all the old stuff, and because I mean it only takes place I think 5 or 6 years or something after Return of the Jedi. Like it's
so it's in between.
It's way before The Force Awakens, Episode 7. So it's like, and it's shortly after. And of course, we were talking about all of this, and of course, the card died, so we didn't get to continue. But I was going to say before, and now I can say now, is Ahsoka Tano from Clone Wars and Rebels, who was Anakin Skywalker's apprentice, is going to be showing up, and she's going to be being played by that chick Rosario Dawson from Daredevil and Luke Cage and all that. She's going to be playing.
She was
Ahsoka.
Also in Men in Black too.
Yeah. So Rosario Dawson is going to be playing Ahsoka in season 2 of The Mandalorian. There is also of course, the Boba Fett tie-in, so we're probably going to see more
That'll
Boba
be
Fett.
something else, too. Yeah.
There is rumors that there's going to be a Boba Fett spin-off.
Really?
Like a 6 or 8 episode spin-off where it's going to explain kind of things with him.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so they're kind of, interconnecting everything.
So you're a fan of the fat.
Yeah. So, and I mean, of course, they're still going to do the Obi-Wan show at some point. That's still going to come. So, but yeah, so it should be pretty cool. But overall, so what'd you think of the second one?
Again, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, me too.
I really am. That's what it boils down to. I've been looking forward to it.
Me too.
Me
too.
And I'm in. What can
I can't believe we had to wait pretty much a whole year.
I know it was really that kind of. But
man,
it pisses me off. But what are you going to do? I mean, there's not much you can do. You just got to sit and
take it as it comes.
Twiddle your balls while you wait. I guess I don't know.
But I'm glad it came about.
Are you going to watch them there, Marky G? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Mark's
yeah, it's really good.
You did watch the first series, right?
He did. He watched.
Yeah. Okay, I thought so.
Yeah, okay. No, it's really it's something, man. I tell you, I'm really enjoying it. But a lot of it again has to do with
we're fucking it up for you here.
No, not really.
It's there's one thing to hear spoilers. It's a whole other thing if you haven't seen it.
Well, yeah, but
I mean, I know there's spiders. So.
Yeah,
so at least you're prepared. Yeah.
But I guess a lot of the credit really goes to Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni.
He wrote it, produced it, directed it. He did everything.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's just his name's everywhere.
Yeah. Well, the rumor is that Jon Favreau is going to be taking over Lucasfilm when Kathleen Kennedy's contract runs out. That's the rumor. I don't know how true it is. I think it would be a great thing.
I think it's great because he's doing some really great work.
Well, I mean, he's done a fantastic job as Happy Hogan in the MCU.
Yeah.
I mean, because he was in Far From Home.
Yeah.
And
and you're not a fan of Kathleen Kennedy anyway.
No.
So
but I mean, like if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have gotten Iron Man 1 and 2. We wouldn't have got Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. I mean, seriously, Jon Favreau is a phenomenal producer. He's a great director. Yeah. He's a good writer. Like,
obviously very talented.
He's a very talented fella, and he pays attention to the subtleties that you need when you're trying to. And he did a lot of stuff. Like him and Dave Filoni had George Lucas on the set in season 1 of The Mandalorian, and consulting with him about things and stuff. Like they just
keeping it real.
It's so much like the original Star Wars stuff. It's not funny.
Well, you know what I find?
It's far closer to that than it is the newer stuff.
Go ahead.
Is Werner Herzog and Bill Burr in it?
Herzog was in the first series.
They didn't have big roles, but
no, Herzog was in the first one.
I haven't seen them in the second one yet.
No, I haven't seen it yet.
But they haven't encountered any of those characters again yet, so
maybe
they might.
But,
you never know; they might be. But
I mean, they weren't killed off in the first one.
Nope. No. Then he hasn't encountered them again yet. The only character from the first season that's appeared so far is the woman on Tatooine with the droids that fixed his ship. That's the only recurring one so far. So, but I'm sure we'll see more.
I'm sure.
But yeah, like it's.
What I was going to say is what I like about it myself is that it's like it almost gives me the idea of an old spaghetti western.
That's why I said to you, had you ever watched Firefly?
Yeah, well, I loved Firefly.
Because Firefly is a space western.
Yeah, that's right, it is.
And
this gives me the same feeling, as one of those, that whole...
Well, especially in the very first episode of season 1.
I know, when he walks right into
bar.
I know. It's just so perfect, And again, in the second one, he walked into another one, and I expected a whole, but it's just...
You just kind of expect that.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, but that's what it gives me. It gives me that feeling of an old western, but done.
I agree.
And I so I'm. That's probably part of what the appeal is for me because it gives me that whole,
Yeah, I agree. It is cool. I'm looking forward to it. I really.
Sergio Leone feel. It's really good that way. So, yeah. So I'm in.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I agree. It's pretty cool. So with that said, overall, I'm with you. I think the episode's been great so far. I look forward to Friday nights. because it's like, oh boy, Mandalorian's going to be on.
Here we go, yeah.
You know, like, frag. Which kind of brings us to WandaVision, which is going to be starting in December, from what I have been told. So,
okay.
Yeah, so that'll be good. But,
something else to talk about.
But the tie over from Mandalorian, of course, Jon Favreau, again, Happy Hogan, and he was in Spider-Man Far From Home. So let's talk about Spider-Man Far From Home.
Okay.
So that was Tom Holland's Peter Parker. Of course, after Avengers Endgame, he was dealing with the fact that Tony had died and everybody had been returned from the snap.
Yep.
And he was going on a school trip.
Yep.
And he ended up getting recruited by Nick Fury and Mariah Hill.
Yep.
Who, spoilers, turns out to be the two shapeshifters.
Yep.
The Skrulls from Captain Marvel.
It's funny,
and of course, we find out that Nick Fury is on the Sword space station somewhere, working with the Skrulls and other S.H.I.E.L.D. agents to.
Yeah. It's funny how it all sort of ties in.
So what did you think of the movie?
All in all, I thought it was good. I liked the way they did the trip. I liked the way everything kind of, it all...
Now, did you see how Jake Gyllenhaal had been the one who came up with Tony's barf technology?
Yeah, I know. It was amazing, really.
The way they did that?
Yeah.
And the other fella, the other guy in the lab coat, did you recognize him from when he was arguing with Jeff Bridges' character from the very first Iron Man? Tony Stark built this in a cave.
That's right.
It's the same guy. Everybody in that was someone who had been fired or had a bad experience with Tony Stark's.
That's right. It was all sort of tied in that way. I remember because I was watching. I remember going, oh, "Okay, yeah, this guy, yeah." It's funny how they all tie that together. But
Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark's presence has felt very heavy in that movie.
Big time.
Like, especially when Peter Parker is on the jet with Happy Hogan and he sticks his hand in, he comes up with he's looking at him and you can see Happy looking at him like, that's Tony.
Yeah.
Like, he could just, like, it's all there. The
subtleties again.
And he's builds his new suit.
Yeah.
Did you remember what Edith standed for when he gave him the Edith gun?
No. He said it, but.
Yeah. Even in death, I'm the hero.
That's right. That's right. Right. I remember he said that, and I went, right.
Even in death, I'm the hero. Yeah. Even dead, I'm the hero. That's
even
what
dead.
It is. Even dead, I'm the hero. Yeah, that's what Edith stands for. Even dead, I'm the hero.
Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah.
And but again, like I said, the school trip and the way he, bugged out of everything and kind of, the whole subtleties of trying to do what he did, and all in all, it was a pretty good movie.
And then, of course, at the end, you see the big surprise where Mysterio managed to still screw him.
Oh yeah.
And J. Jonah Jameson, played by the same guy from the Tobey Maguire movies.
He did great as J. Jonah. He nailed that.
J.K. Simons.
Yeah. He really nailed that character.
Yeah.
It's
and so
he's got the right with the he's got it down to a.
So I love Peter's reaction at the end. What the?
Yeah. I know. That was so cool. Yeah. All in all, I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was good. So now the next one after that is what? There's another Spider-Man after that?
There will be Spider-Man 3.
Oh, okay. I thought there was already another one I had to watch.
Right now, the next movie that is supposed to have come out was Black Widow, which was supposed to come out this past May. But of course, because of COVID, everything's been delayed, right? So, because it was supposed to come out, then we were supposed to see Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And then we were supposed to see WandaVision, The Eternals, and Loki, and then Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, because WandaVision and Loki were supposed to lead into Doctor Strange. So now they've had to change things around a little bit. Because
so now what?
The next movie to watch is still going to be Black Widow, but WandaVision is going to end up coming out first.
Is that going to screw up their...
Well, no, it won't screw things up. It's just going to mean that we're going to see it in an order that...
They didn't plan?
They didn't plan us to see it in. It's just going to be a different order. So, if you watch the Marvel Universe as it is so far with what's out, the release order is not the order you're supposed to watch it in anyway.
Okay.
When you watch what's released so far... You're supposed to watch Captain America, the First Avenger, first. And then you're supposed to watch Agent Carter.
Okay.
The TV show. And then you're supposed to so there's an order for a watching order because of this.
Well, then why the fuck don't they put them out that way?
Because it didn't happen that way. When they created things, when they first started, they started with Iron Man. They didn't know it was going to be successful, right? They didn't know everything was going to be successful the way it was. But once everything started to, they were able to go back and fill in these gaps with other movies and shows and things, so that now if you want to go back and watch it in a chronological order, you can. You just have to look up the order online in which to watch it, but you can watch it all in chronological order, and it all makes just as much sense as it did before. It's just now, if you watch it that way, you're seeing it in the order they would like you to watch it, so that you're seeing everything as it unfolds.
Right.
As opposed to before, where they were like, well, they didn't know if they were going to get the opportunity to go back and fill in some of these gaps, and they did.
So you're watching it here, then you're watching here, and then they're filling.
Yeah. So if you watched it as it's been released,
it's Swiss cheese, basically.
Yeah. If you watch it as it's been released, of course, the Marvel Universe. When they did Iron Man, they had no idea they were going to be able to do Thor or Captain America or the Avengers. They had no idea those movies were going to come. They had plans in the can for Iron Man and the Incredible Hulk. Those movies were both being made, and they didn't know that they were going to get to do any more. It wasn't until Iron Man was a success that they knew they were going to be able to do more. And then, of course, once Avengers happened, they were like, holy crap, this really exploded. We're going to be able to go back and fill in some of these gaps here and there. And that's what they started to do. So that's all it is it's just you can watch it in a watching order now that you couldn't when it first came out. Like before, it was you'd watch it and it was like, okay, cool. It all made sense because it still followed an order.
Okay, why don't
But at the end, it was then, when they started to go back and fill, it was nice that it was like, oh, cool. So now we can see what happened there because they went back and they filled that in with another movie or a TV
so
show.
For those that aren't aware, tell us what the chronological order would be. How do they come chronologically?
Oh, good God, I don't have it in front of me. It's long.
You don't know off the top of your head?
Oh, no, holy crap. No, you're talking 23 movies, half dozen TV shows, Marvel one-shots,
okay, I thought you might have had an idea offhand. Okay, all right. Sorry to put you on the spot.
I have a rough idea. Well, I said, it's Captain America, the First Avenger, and then, you watch Agent Carter seasons 1 and 2, and then there's a Marvel one-shot that happens between Captain America and Agent Carter. There's a Marvel one-shot that happens in there. Then you go from there to, I think it's Captain Marvel, and then you go to Iron Man, then Iron Man 2, then the Incredible Hulk, and then you go to, I think it's Thor, then the end credit scene of Captain America. There's a Marvel one shot that happens between Iron Man 2 and Thor, and then you watch the Avengers, and then after the Avengers you watch, I think it goes Thor 2, then Iron Man 3, then Captain America 2. There's a Marvel one-shot that happens in there as well.
Wow, really Swiss cheese.
Yeah,
okay.
it's all it's really
all over the place, really. But okay, all right. But I'm sure if you look it up,
if you Google the chronological order of the MCU, you can see what you watch in what order.
So do that then. Google it,
and it'll tell you. If you watch Captain America: The First Avenger, you watch right up until the end. But you don't watch the end credit scene until after you watch Thor, because he wakes up at the end of Thor, just before the Avengers takes place. Okay. So you don't watch the end, even parts of them you watch in different spots.
Wow.
For it all to fit. It's
Swiss cheese, all right.
But I mean, you don't have to watch it that way.
No, obviously
you can watch it the way it was released, and it's just as enjoyable. It's just that you're seeing, oh, okay, they did go back and fill in this thing and whatever. You can watch it that way too. It's the same thing with Star Wars, right? Like if you watch Star Wars,
well, even those are backwards.
The orders that they're released in is not the order you
watch them.
You should watch them anymore.
No, definitely, right? Because 4, 5, and 6 were first.
That's right.
So.
Because, I mean, now if you watch it, you're supposed to go back and watch The Phantom Menace, and then Attack of the Clones, then the Clone Wars cartoon, and then you're supposed to watch Revenge of the Sith, and then you're supposed to watch Star Wars Rebels, and then Rogue One, and then A New Hope, and then, like, and blah, 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 like this. So it's all over the place there, too, right? Like, it's just because now they've got the ability to go back and fill in these gaps that they've wanted to do for a long time. That's all. It's just making the watch order, if you want to watch them chronologically, is different. Yeah. But you don't actually have to do it that way. You can watch them in release order, and it's just the same. But anyway,
right. So next thing on the slate,
like Jake Gyllenhaal as the
I loved him.
villain?
He did a great job.
He played it really good. Yeah. He buddied right up to him at the beginning.
Oh yeah, he pulled it off real good. He's a good actor anyway. Let's face it.
He's great.
Kudos to him.
Yeah.
But the next thing then on the slate is WandaVision, right?
That's what's going to come out next.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't what was originally intended to be watched next, but it's what's going to come out next.
So that's coming.
So
December,
see.
You said.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll see that, and then we're probably going to see Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and then we're probably going to see Black Widow. That's probably what will happen. So.
Well, we'll be talking about it anyway. So
they just finished everything on Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I think a week ago or so. So WandaVision's been done for a while. It's just going to.
Yeah, we'll be talking about it as it goes anyway. So, but okay, good enough.
So, but anyway,
there you go.
Like
good.
It's anyway, so that was overall though you liked it, eh?
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so. Yeah.
You work for Spiderman? I said I work with Spiderman.
With Spiderman, yeah.
Boom!
Yeah.
New plan.
Yeah.
Everybody will play.
Yeah.
Boom!
Yeah.
New plan.
Yeah. Really good.
Yeah. No, it was really good. Really, really good. I really liked that movie.
What's the matter, Riker?
So that takes us to Discovery. Then we'll talk about Star Trek Discovery. So episode 3 of Discovery.
Back to Earth.
They go to Earth. They take the Discovery and they go to Earth. And, of course, they find out that the Federation isn't there anymore.
Yep.
That they're not part of the Federation. That Earth is all by itself, surrounded by a force field.
That's right. And they had to get into that whole thing,
but they end up doing that. They end up getting involved, and they end up making allies with Earth again, and
all things considered, they should,
and then they end up actually doing the Star Trek thing, the Starfleet thing, and making an agreement between the residents of Titan who had been attacking Earth.
Yeah.
And get them to realize you're still all humans and you're still all part of the same work together, and they end up doing that, and they went looking, of course, for an admiral, and of course, what they end up finding was a human with a Trill inside.
That's
which
right,
is
the girl.
Odd because humans normally
don't do that apparently.
Can't carry Trill.
Right.
Now
they gave in the second one they gave you the inside story as to how that happened, but you didn't see the second.
I haven't seen that yet, but I heard that I heard a rumor, and you can tell me if they reveal this in the next one or not. I heard that they might have made the Trill, the symbiote Dax from Deep Space Nine. Is it?
No, they didn't reveal that.
They didn't reveal that?
No.
I have heard that might be who the
really?
symbiote is. Is Dax.
Okay.
From Deep Space Nine. Which I think would be really kind of cool.
Yeah, wouldn't that be...
That'd be kind of a cool tie-in if they did that. I wonder if they're going to.
I could see how that could
But
come
the
out
people
of
on
there.
the Discovery had no idea what a symbiote...
No, they
what?
didn't know
They didn't
that.
know.
No,
they knew what
no.
Trill were as a race.
Well, she didn't know what she was, technically. She didn't know she couldn't remember... because...
Oh, did the symbiote take over her
Yeah,
completely?
and she didn't remember the ones who had it before her. She couldn't bring herself to remember. And because, she, obviously, they did...
Because she was human.
Well, the thing was, it was the fact that the original one that had it was her boyfriend. And
he was a Trill?
He was a Trill. And... they're together and they're talking and they're doing, obviously they were in a relationship and whatever, and there was an explosion and he died, and he's dying in the explosion, and somewhere along the line she ends up volunteering to take
the symbiote to save it, and they were kind of going, well, humans don't normally, and anyway, everybody accepted it and it worked, so she took it. But from that point... She couldn't remember anything before?
She couldn't remember before. Like, the people that had... Like, usually when they do it, apparently,
they can remember
all the different memories of everybody before. But she couldn't remember anything. So they took her to Trill. And they told them what was going on, and they explained the situation that, she's got to remember, and she's got to... Because there's a cave, and she goes into water somewhere.
So the Discovery takes her to Trill?
Yeah, they take her to Trill, and... They end up trying to see if they'd be willing to let her try to remember what's going on. And they have a big fight about it because, humans aren't allowed, and it's a an aberration, and it's this and it's that, and all the, the usual.
Yeah. And it's like no respect for the fact that she saved the symbiote's life.
That has nothing to do with it. That's sorry, you're still human and you're an aberration and you're piece of shit kind of thing, But one of them realizes this could be the beginning of something that, only one of them has the foresight to realize what's going on. So when they're turning around to leave, he comes to them and he says, I'll take you. And, anyway, so she goes in the water and she has the little, and it ends up that,
she goes in the pools with all the symbiotes.
She goes in and she's pulled down under and she starts having, but, what's her name goes with her.
Who? Burnham?
Burnham goes with her because
she does.
Well, because of the fact that
God, I hate that character.
No. Anyway, she goes with her in the pool because she's having a hard time and she can't do it alone and whatever. So she goes with her, and then they go down and they're somewhere, and they attach to her and they start helping her remember. And that's part of the problem. She had a mental block because of the fact that the guy died.
Yeah.
And that's what her boyfriend or whatever the hell he was, that was the problem, that she couldn't get by that. So once she got through that, everything came through then. So it was a matter of her trying to get over.
And I'm looking forward to going home tonight and watching it.
Yeah, it was, but it was good. So she remembered everybody and, the whole thing, and it came back together. And then, of course, they all accepted the human as the, whatever, because of the good that came out of it and the whole thing. So, one thing led to another, and it all, they lived happily ever after, basically. So.
Now, did she stay on the Discovery with them?
Yes, she decided to stay on the Discovery because she felt that was what she was supposed to do.
Ah, cool. Okay.
So she didn't stay on Trill. They asked her if she would, but she said, I think my destiny is to go with them and do. So she stayed on the Discovery with them.
That's cool.
So
now, was Trill part of the Federation still?
No, the Federation isn't around, and they're trying.
Well, the Federation is around,
right?
But they do establish that it's there. It's just not what it was.
That's right. So they're trying to find out where it is. Oh, yes. She remembered because one of the guys sent a message. Yeah, the Admiral sent a message, and she ended up, when she got back to the ship, she did some calculations, did some stuff, and handed it to Burnham and said, "Here, these coordinates. You go there. That's where it is."
That's where the Federation.
That's where the Federation is. So then I guess the next one they'll end up going to find the Federation. So
that's cool.
So that's what it turns out to be.
That's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to watching it now.
So there's the second one.
That's cool.
This is weird for me to be.
I know, yeah, because I just didn't get a chance to watch it.
This is a fucking switch.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it because I am liking season 3. I liked it. Like I said, the first episode I didn't like, but the second, the third one I liked, and I'm sure I'll like this one too. Yeah. It's because I think they started it out in a weird way, but I am liking what they're doing. So yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it was really good.
That would be kind of neat, I think, if they actually turned it out to make the symbiote Dax. But I'm guessing they would have, if they were going to do that, they would have announced
done it already
in that
but
episode.
Maybe they'll bring. I don't know. But I didn't see
because the symbiote would have a name, and when she remembered everything, she would know. She would have known what the name was. So
okay.
Anyway, but yeah. So
anyway, there
still
you go.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, that's so I think it'll be pretty interesting. So but when they went back to Earth and they you get to see that Earth is actually look like every planet seems to be looking out for themselves because dilithium is like so rare now and all this stuff. So but it's funny, I find how they mentioned in that episode when they went back to Earth, they said, well, Starfleet tried other ways of warp and nothing worked. And I'm like, well, that's weird because, like I said before, the Romulans use quantum singularities, which are mini black holes, to power theirs. They don't use dilithium crystals. They never did. I mean, it's not like they don't have access to what a Romulan warp core would be like. They've all seen them before. I mean, it was common knowledge.
Or maybe they, I don't know.
And, like, there are other races that used other things. So, I mean, there's other ways they could have, which is why I find it so odd that they're like, oh no, that's it. There's no dilithium. So it's like, I think that's the writers not paying enough attention.
That could be.
But anyway, but they got the spore drive, so maybe that's what they're going to do is they're going to give the spore drive technology to the Federation, and that'll help rebuild the Federation because
That sounds
they'll
reasonable.
all be able to then travel wherever via the Spore Drive. So
makes sense.
Yeah.
But anyway, there you go.
Anyway, so that was pretty cool. So overall, then you've liked it.
I did very much. I'm enjoying. I'm enjoying it thoroughly.
I'm going to watch it tonight.
1 minute.
I'll give you what my thoughts on it are next week when we get back to talking about it. But anyway, that said, I guess that's it.
Yeah. Somebody's.
Good timing.
Good timing.
Good timing, Ikers. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. Please leave a comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out all of our other shit. We've got a lot of really good stuff.
And say hi to Ike.
Say hi to Ike because he's saying hello. And we'll see you guys right here next week on Let's Talk with the Saw.
See you later, guys.